In citing opposition to this intervention, Kurt Beck notes two radically different views of humanity and human nature. One, there are too many people, fewer would be better. And two, each individual is unique, and one cannot add or subtract human beings for any purpose. Demography not only views the individual as a mere statistic, but as a statistic to be manipulated and even eliminated. Paul VI and John Paul II, while acknowledging the concern of governments with the balance between resources and population, categorically affirm that each human being is unique and must be treated as such. Almost alone, the Church has defended the integrity of the human person in the 20th century. In Scripture, to take a census of people was fraught with danger. Both 1 Chronicles and 2 Samuel tell of the punishment meted out on David for taking such a census. Satan stood up against Israel and incited David to number Israel. So David said to Joab and the commanders of the army, "Go number Israel from Beersheba to Dan, and bring me a report that I may know their number." But Joab said, "May the Lord add to his people 100 times as many as they are. Are they not my Lord the King, all of them my Lord's servants? Why then should my Lord require this? Why should he bring guilt on Israel?" But the king's word prevailed against Joab. But God was displeased with this, and he smote Israel. And David said to God, "I have sinned greatly, in that I have done this thing." The biblical commentaries explain that it was known to readers that according to the conscience of Israel, to number the people was to trespass on the supreme rights of God. The sin may be the pride of David, or perhaps his intrusion into a realm that is specifically the realm of Yahweh. Certainly, as Margaret Sanger states, it is human control that the birth control movement is seeking. Even if we discount her extravagant language, and this is a quote, "Birth control aims at the solution of the great problems of hunger and sex at the same time." What arrogance. But we must admit that the same ideology of control informs today's birth control advocates. David was punished by a plague on his people. In modern times, we have certainly been visited by the deadly plague, AIDS. Yet it was as a result of this ill-advised census that the site was chosen for the building of the temple in Jerusalem. It may yet be that through this massive numbering of God's people, the truth about contraception and abortion will be uncovered, and the temple of his people will be rebuilt. And I think we can see that happening today, that the tools of democracies are, as Dr. Irving showed, being turned against them in finding out the real truth about contraception and abortion. Now to turn to the conjugal relationship. Section 8 of Humanae Vitae states, "Marriage was established wisely and providently by the Creator God, with the idea that he might build in man and woman his design of love. Therefore, through the mutual giving of themselves to each other, which is properly and exclusively theirs, husband and wife strive after that sharing of persons by which they may perfect each other, so that they may cooperate with God in the procreation and education of new living beings. In this vision of love, man and woman give and receive each other totally in preparation for parenthood. In the vision presented by Margaret Sanger, which became enshrined in the birth control movement, man and woman withhold from each other their fertility, and the child becomes the enemy. As Sanger wrote in Happiness in Marriage, which was published in 1926, the plunge into parenthood is like the blighting of a bird, the cause of spiritual separation between husband and wife. And again, a child thrusts itself into the lives of a young husband and wife. More extreme is a statement by Marie Stopes, the British birth control advocate, to President Woodrow Wilson. "Have you, sir, visualized what it means to be a woman whose every fiber, whose every muscle and blood capillary is subtly poisoned by the secret, ever-growing horror, more long drawn out than any nightmare, of an unwanted embryo beneath her heart. At the core of the birth control movement is a rejection of the child and motherhood. But it is couched in the language of concern for maternal and child health, for women's freedom and, Margaret Sanger's expression, the sanctity of sex expression. Margaret Sanger offered to men sexual satisfaction without consequences, and to women liberation from childbearing. Sanger published a magazine called The Woman Rebel. In it, she wrote, "What rebel women claim is the right to be lazy, the right to be an unmarried mother, the right to destroy, the right to create, the right to live, the right to love." But notice, the right to destroy comes first. In a book called Woman and the New Race, and these books had huge circulations in their day, she wrote, "No woman can call herself free who does not own and control her own body. No woman can call herself free unless she can choose consciously whether she will or will not be a mother." In remarks prepared for the Century of Progress exhibition in Chicago in 1934, she wrote, "Instead of a world created by irresponsible hordes of hatred and antagonism, free woman shall guide us into a future created by all-embracing love through the consciousness of birth control." We have yet to see this paradise on earth. Instead of all-embracing love, we have a divorce rate of 1 in 2 marriages, endemic violence in our cities, and 1.5 million abortions